As noble citizens, we must bypass a life of dormancy and vice to pursue the generative endeavor of a hard day's work. The benefits of these pursuits are not secured by chance or charity, but through the merit of your character and the firmness of your convictions. It is you who are planting the seeds of trees whose shade you know you shall never see.
So I heard you got a banjo, my friend. I heard you're playing the banjo and listening to Pete Seeger. How's that going?
That's true. I've been listening to Pete Seeger for quite some time now. And I got a banjo so I could replicate the deedly-dees and deedly-doos.
He's got some good ones. He's great at those.
He's got
I love Pete
is
Seeger.
really great. He also, I recently discovered, and definitely one of the things that inspired me, was he had his own lessons, how to play the guitar and how to play the 5-string banjo, which were records originally. And those are pretty cool.
Right.
He actually describes how to create a looping system with your old record back in the day, where you would it would basically lift the stylus and slide it to a point where you wanted to every time that you stepped on a little pedal. So he made like a little contraption so that you could practice these parts over and over on a 30-minute long record.
Pretty wild.
And
so
I have not been doing that, thankfully. There are easier ways today to loop, but very cool to hear how he described how you could loop things back in the day. He'd tell you to slow the record down by playing it at 33 1/3 rather than 45. So there were tricks and things like that you could do.
That's one of the coolest things with record players too, is the way you can just slow things down. That shit can be so cool. But we are the Broken Wind Podcast. It's your we're dual wielding hosts as usual. We have two hosts. It's me, the homeboy Butler, and we have
you been doing your vocal warm-ups?
Actual fact, found the largest spider I've ever found in my home.
That probably caused some vocal warm-ups.
I did some vocal because for the listener, I live in an Australia-style place, and spiders aren't normally a big concern, but I'm familiar with this particular type. It's called a wolf spider, and they're solidly 2 to 4 inches long, and this was the biggest one I've ever seen. Yeah, they're no joke. They're big suckers.
Are they deadly or
not? But they're, quite harmless.
Yeah, usually the big ones seem to be
not very dangerous at all.
Is my understanding.
Yeah,
some of the most dangerous ones are very small.
I'm a big bug guy too, and the more time I spend, appreciating bugs, the more I see a sort of different temperament across different ones. And spiders, of all of them, have really just an incredible temperament. They're very, very smart and generally peaceful creatures that aren't. There are very few aggressive spiders that will go fucking aggro at you for getting up in their shit. They do exist, but they're a lot. They're
I've
pretty
seen
cool.
quite a lot poking around in my yard doing yard work, and they don't harm anyone.
Oh my god, yeah. I made sure to take this giant spider outside, of course, but we're here podcasting because it is almost the start of July. Probably will be early July when you hear this.
The news just doesn't stop.
And the news keeps going, and we wanted to get back together to talk about some of the new fun stuff that's come up. There's lots of stuff going on in sports that we'll probably talk about in the back end of the show.
Lots of sporting events our president's been falling asleep at.
Yeah, and it's just been an exciting, a very overly exciting world, but I think the thing we wanted to make sure to start the show off with, we alluded to last time, but it has only gotten funnier as a news story, is the White House reflecting pool boondoggle that is currently underway, and it is impossible to. We've talked about this before, me and my friend here, that which by the way is the producer Vane, the man himself. He's here. He's co-hosting. He's he's wolfing it up, but
those are vocal warm-ups.
Yes, exactly. And the reflecting pool, man. I mean, speak on it. Like, it's like satire.
Yeah, it's poetry in motion.
Irony
is dead.
It's beautiful. It's incredible. It's incredibly Floridian too. Let's like the fact that it's like a shitty pool contractor. It's like perfect.
And
like,
others have said it. The man who said he would drain the swamp actually recreated the original swamps that were once in D.C. He's done it again.
Oh, it's like it's too heavy-handed. It's like if this were a book, I'd be like, "Come on now, you think
really?
You think
the company is called Greenwater.
Subtext.
Really?"
They're arresting people for stopping and taking photographs of the peeling, liner on the bottom.
There's our $14 million of blue North paint Korea. Coagulating into these blood clots at the bottom of the pool. The pool that he was so proud of. God, he was so proud.
Well, and this is I like listening to him. We'll talk more about his deranged ramblings that have been going on, but it is so obvious. I'm not an expert in the world of home improvement or construction or engineering or pools or any such thing, but I'm smart enough to imagine that a pool that large, a large scale waterproofing, cleaning, and beautifying bluing project. That's not easy. That's not something.
I mean, that's why he was bragging about how long it is. Because last episode I spoke about how it's not really an engineering feat to build a pool that is long, but apparently it is. Yeah. Apparently, just keeping algae from forming in that pool has been a challenge that has befuddled several administrations. But
and to be clear, I'm not saying this to give him an off ramp. I'm saying this because they should have done more than just a no bid contract for the sketches.
And he ripped up the Iran nuclear deal. Again, the poetic irony of this is that he got rid of the filtration system that Obama had put in place that was not doing a perfect job at removing the algae, just like the Iran nuclear deal was not a perfect deal that, as he would say, 100% stopped them from obtaining a nuke forever in perpetuity. There was no deal to do that. You have to.
It would have been a perfect deal if it gave it to them immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have made it a perfect deal.
You can't stop them because they did have cards to play. And he said to Zelensky way back, "You have no cards. You have no cards."
Because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards.
Holy shit.
But
remember that. Oh my God.
The fact of the matter is that Iran always did have some cards to play, and their deck just got a whole lot thicker.
Well, and what's the expression, my friend? I think it's a Kissinger quote. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's to be enemies of the United States is dangerous. To be friends is fatal. Right? So it's Iran is taking the path of never being friends with the United States and I was thinking about how the fact that Donald Trump, of all people, was literally in the course of this war that is now, in its final stages, and we'll get to that in a sec. But
we'll see.
It was literally right. Well, yeah, that's a good point. But the way he was saying they're armed, they're gonna rise up, they're gonna overthrow their oppressive government. Was of all the ways of history to just literally repeat itself, it's unbelievable.
There's definitely more to unpack.
Yeah, because, so the story goes that the motherfucking pool's always been a problem, right? Obama put in some basic filter.
Yeah, so the filter was working pretty well, not perfectly, just like the Iran nuclear deal and Trump.
The whole design is inherent. You think about it for a second too. It's one of those things where it's
in a swamp.
Big giant shallow pool. Yeah, it's a big giant shallow pool in a place that's already notoriously swampy. It's that's not going to be easy to keep it crystal crystal blue, just by nature of physics.
Yeah, so it was doing an okay job. Just like the Iran nuclear deal, it was doing an okay job, and Trump said, "I could do it better." And he said, basically like he did with the Iran nuclear deal, Our president will start a war because he has no ability to negotiate.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate.
And he ripped it up. He tore out that filter that did the algae, and he said, I've got a better solution. I can paint it blue, which is really what they call the landlord special, the only thing that he can really bring to the table. I'll slap a coat of paint on it and call it good as new. Right. Turns out that doesn't work.
It's like I was just starting to say, where it's like, if your goal is to make a however deep, less than 2 feet deep pool that is enormous in a place that is already notoriously a swamp stay crystal clear blue year round. Sorry, that's actually like a really difficult thing that you need to have like a smart solution to, that might be novel, that might be something that hasn't been tried
more
before.
Than just pouring hydrogen peroxide in the water.
Yeah, I think someone was also pointing out that concentrate. It wasn't even the right concentration.
Not even close. Yeah, it would have needed to be like orders of magnitude more concentrated. And the problem is, it's already a leaky pool, hence the algae leaking in. And so that hydrogen peroxide is leaking out. It's also the thing that's causing a smaller concentration than needed to kill algae, is causing all the paint to peel up, like we said, and coagulate at the bottom of the pool. And that leaking out of the hydrogen peroxide into the surrounding area is almost certain to kill all the grass and the wildlife in the area. And that's what's already happened. And now this story really has everything, because it has Trump claiming that it's vandalism. It has Fox News reporting on air with a guy in a blue blazer saying, this water is so blue, and it's completely green, and it's like impossible to argue.
And your eyes
don't believe what your eyes.
I'm here at the newly renovated reflecting pool. It's painted American flag blue. And the Democrats are going to tell you, oh, there's green algae, it looks so bad. But there's pool guys cleaning it up right now. No other president would do that, but President Trump is still cleaning it up.
Amazing.
Is your TV calibrated right? Because I'm actually wearing a magenta suit, not a navy blue.
Yeah, there were multiple blue shirts on screen in that clip. Like, I think we were talking about this the other day. It's like, satire's done.
And then you have people working backwards to say it's the Democrats. Obviously, they came in the middle of the night and they killed all the grass. And they
it's another classic case too of the accusation making the Democrats and the left more broadly sound much cooler than they are, because there's no shot that anyone went out there and did any kind of like eco-terrorism. Yeah. With algae to that pool, but that would have been cool.
I mean, there was the 86, the thing that Comey posted too, that was 8647, and someone did that on the lawn too, and then that they tried to cover up on the White House lawn, and that has also come back too, because they couldn't even come up with a solution to actually cover the dying grass that said 8647. Whoever did that was very libbed out, I can guarantee that. But unfortunately, that's not the story for all the dead grass surrounding the pool. That would be way too convenient. And the fact of the matter is that it's just pure mismanagement. And the company that Trump hired as a no-bid contract, which was called Greenwater Services, they accomplished what their name said. That's all.
They didn't miss any detail. There's no detail missed. If you're like, man, there's some subtlety there, maybe take a closer look, because there probably isn't. It's the least subtle. And again, it's like, what's even the point of writing satire with this kind of stuff happening on a daily basis? It's like, God, what am I going to do? It's better than this.
Yeah, remember Stephen Colbert stopped satirizing these people a decade ago, and they still continued. They went on and on and on.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything to them at all. And then my favorite part, too, was, again, them arresting a cyclist who stopped to take a picture of it, because the claim is that he was messing with the liner and like pulling it up.
More
but you can see
vandals.
from the picture and
More
like,
vandals turning the water
right,
green.
Exactly. It's just constant like, oh no, you did this to me, when it's like tripping over your own dick and then being like, how dare you do this to me? It's just like so.
You put that object there.
It's the meme of the kid putting the stick in his spokes and then being like, the fucking left, and it's like, dude, you guys, this is all you guys.
After he lost his in the glory hole that we talked about in previous episodes, now he's pointing the finger and saying, you know what, the Democrats are the ones that gave me this big huge that I tripped over.
Whatever's going on with the pool contractors has just been funny beyond belief. It's been awesome. It's been really, really enjoyable to watch, and it is the stuck in the glory hole again.
Now it's in the vent of a swimming pool.
Oh God, yeah, yeah, no. Well, it's because this is well, I think the Iran war is a bigger is stuck in a trap sort of metaphor because of the way it has split. Although we shouldn't underestimate the size of the pool care. Imagine the guy who's done with Trump now because he's really into pool care, and he's like, this is wrong. You can't treat a pool like that.
Yeah.
You can't do that to a pool.
I'm sure there are some Trumpy small business pool cleaning services that are just done with him.
Like pool
this was the last straw.
We're like, wow, this was the last straw for them.
You don't understand how algae works.
Pool ownership. You don't know how to properly vet a contractor for a pool liner. This guy really is a joke. That's what finally allowed
every one of his businesses before was a fraud as well.
Right. But this finally seeing that they don't know about their thing, they're like,
what else has he been lying about?
It's that it's so interesting in the age of AI that Trump is also the president, because I feel as if
he's used
the AGI. No, but think about this for a second. So it's like I think one thing we talk about in the show is like, there is no Ubermensch, there is no like general intelligence, there is no like being like the smartest, like competent, like the most hyper competent person that you can learn anything.
There's
and everything.
No singular measurement of intelligence. But there is clearly dumbasses in the world. That much we can tell for certain.
But by logical extension, that means there's no AGI. And I think, the Chinese have proceeded with their approach to AI with that sort of belief in mind. And clearly we're planning on using all our water and destroying the world to try and cultivate AGI. Which, again,
we're going to achieve the ghost in the machine.
Right. This, like, mega Ubermensch hyper-competence doesn't exist, but it's something that people also attribute to Trump.
I'm proud to have that German blood. There's no question about it. Great stuff.
It's in the genes. It's in the blood, right? It's in the blood.
And it's like, this is just yet another very obvious sign to anyone who, has eyes to see that was always a total sham. That was always he was always just a total f***ing moron. And
he has no ability to negotiate, so he's going to start a war with Iran.
There you go. And that's the transition, because now we have, I believe, at time of speaking, seen this most recent, and I think the ceasefire that's been greeted with the most fanfare so far of this most recent Iran war. I think has there already been a broken agreement?
Yes.
Even in this
Iran?
Yes,
there already has been,
and
they shut down,
right.
Iran already shut down the Strait of Hormuz and said that there have been violations to that. That happened, I believe, yesterday or the day before, less than a week into the after the signing at Versailles, which also has its own poetic irony. And there was a photo of Trump that people were sharing side by side next to I guess it was a cartoon image of whoever the German was who had to sign the Treaty of Versailles after World War I. And
I saw that. It's uncanny.
Yeah, it's just an uncanny.
The German chancellor.
Yeah,
at that time,
and again, like we talked about in our Florida series, go check that out. They pulled the ultimate power move on him, which is making him sign a treaty in a language that he can't read. And this language was an Arabic language, I believe, and Trump obviously could not read it, and at the time did not fully understand the terms that he was agreeing to, which is the same as what the Gadsden and Jackson did to the Native Americans, and it's the same as what happened to Germany after World War I. It turns out that if you purposely make someone sign a treaty in a language they can't read, you're almost certainly going to try to pull a fast one on them.
Well, it's a weird point, but I understand the point you're making. I mean, at the end of the day, it is still, like, no question that I think it's odd to compare post-World War I Germany and Trump to the indigenous Americans. So that there's some differences, but the broader point I understand that, like, and this is the other thing I wanted to say, because of his cognitive decline, I don't think you can put anything in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, you could put English in front of him. You could put Dr. Seuss in front of him, and I don't think he'd be able to understand what's going on.
The second order I'm signing directs federal agency to transition to what is called quantum cryptography. Do anybody know what that is? You're going to hear very soon, so you're going to find it.
Clearly at the G7 meeting, he had absolutely no idea where he was for at least 90% of it, which was kind of shocking.
Holy shit. Like, the G7 speaking was unbelievable too. But I want to get back to the ceasefire too, to be specific on it, because pallets of cash. I'm hearing more and more talk that we're giving Iran more and more pallets of cash, and quite frankly, that makes me happy. That's, if there's anything.
And there were some very weird, revealing moments too, where Trump actually, for the first time, admitted for himself that no, it's not pallets of cash; it's their own money, and they're entitled to this money. Which is
pallets of their own cash,
which is weird. He never extended that courtesy to Obama when he gave them pallets of their own cash, but for himself, he's excused giving them pallets of their own cash.
Can you explain, though, what the difference is between giving Iran U.S. dollars and unfreezing U.S. dollars for
Well, the unfreezing is an easy one to answer. We have taken a lot of their money, and we have their money. We have taken their money. It's not our money. It's their money, and we froze it. At a certain point in time, I guess we're going to have to give it back. You know, if we didn't give it back, nobody would ever invest in the dollar again. If you took their money, because I thought about it, you know, I'm not the most perfect person. I said to Scott, why do we keep their money? What the hell are we giving it back to them? But, you know, people from lots of nations, some nations we don't agree with, they have their money. The dollar's become very strong under me. And they don't want to have a little conflict with somebody and end up having the United States just take their money. So if you do that, you really don't have a system.
And if we look at the broad sweep of American history, I think you'll see that some of the best periods in America were when we were giving the Iranians pallets of cash unconditionally. So I think that if we all just, you know, take a step back and start giving Iran as much of the, you know, and that, you know, yes, we'll give them their own money back, but then if we got to sweeten the deal with a few more pallets that they didn't have before.
Yeah, or a few 100 million more pallets is fine. There's
as many pallets as it takes.
And
is
what
honestly,
we're saying is
my tax dollars are routinely spent on much worse bullshit than this. So let's, you know, a few pallets of cash for Iran. Come on now.
Yeah, and if Trump can get a little piece of those pallets of cash in the end, then we would say that that's good for the nation, that Trump is clearly the nation. And so the nation does better when we organize a $300 billion $1 billion a day almost deal for them in order to sweeten the pot a little bit. And who cares whether that's your own tax money or somebody else's money from an Arab state? It really doesn't matter at this point, because $300 billion could have forgiven all student loans or paid for universal health care, but that's too costly when it's for you.
Yeah.
We can't take care of daycare. We're a big country. We have 50 states. We have all these other people. We're fighting wars. We can't take care of daycare. You got to let a state take care of daycare, and they should pay for it too. But it's not possible for us to take care of daycare. Medicaid, Medicare, all these individual things, they can do it on a state basis. You can't do it on a federal. We have to take care of one thing, military protection. We have to guard the country. But all these little things, all these little scams that have taken place, you have to let states take care of them, Russell.
And if there's a deal that Trump and the Kushners or whoever else he chooses can get a little piece of side action from it, then it's good for the nation, and you just have to shut up about it.
Well, on a side note, this episode is sponsored by World Liberty Financial, and we have, both pretty extensive holdings in, I think they're calling it USD Plus, which I don't think you, as a couple of certified money heads, I don't think you and I have really taken a second to talk about how insane that is, that the president of the United States and his family have a, corrupt financial firm. That's already crazy to begin with World Liberty Financial. But then they have a stable coin that's called USD Plus. Like, without even getting into the bullshit of the idea of a stable coin, it's ostensibly like a U.S.-backed cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Like, that's just like they made it, but it's like insiders only already. It's already...
But it's a competitor to what is our actual currency, the U.S. dollar.
That too. Exactly. It's not integrated in any way at all. It's
competition, and they want that one to win.
Purely, yeah.
They want our dollar to collapse.
Yeah. Think about it, like that just sucks. Like it's like, think about what...
And on the side of that, you've got the sons of Donald Trump. I think Don Jr. sits on the board of all the prediction markets, Kalshi and what's that other one?
Yep. He's just so good at predicting.
Yeah, he's so good at predicting. They didn't...
loves
unfortunately, George Santos is getting in trouble for predicting that, surprise, surprise, he wasn't going to show up at the inauguration on a whim, and he decided to bet the opposite, that he was not going to. And it's not like he had insider information on what he was going to do later that day. That is very hard to conceive that someone could possibly do that. And of course, with a guy like Don Jr. regulating these markets, there's no concern whatsoever.
Right.
And also, Eric Jr. reportedly reached out about the UFC fight. He reached out to one of the leaders of the UFC, and he said, do you know if any of these fights are going to be rigged?
Hold on now. This episode's sponsored by World Liberty Financial. Remember, we'll get to that story on the end when the sponsors have stopped listening, but we're still doing the World Liberty Financial ad read, so thank you for your sponsorship.
Yeah, and it's totally appropriate for the son of the president to reach out about the UFC fight on the White House lawn. Yeah, it's called making predictions, and that's the point of having prediction markets is you reach out in private to someone and you say, hey, are any of these matches going to be thrown? Is anyone secretly injured? And then when they asked him, hey, I don't think it's appropriate for you to ask me these questions, he said, what are you talking about? I've never said any of that. And denied having done that.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Before we get into the antics of the Trump family, we got derailed because we were talking about the pallets of cash, and that's just, we start talking pallets of cash.
Yeah, we both get excited.
We start frothing at the mouth. Yeah, exactly. But the Iran war ceasefire that isn't holding as we kind of thought it would. There was quite a bit of I would say media press cycle about this, and they sent the whole team in on it. They sent JD, they sent Kushner and Lutnick.
Deal Team 6.
They sent Deal Team 6 in there. Did you come up with that? No way.
I believe they came up with that actually.
Deal Team 6. Oh man, I gotta give it to him on that one. That's
they're great at marketing.
well, I'm not going to give him great at marketing, but Deal Team 6 is pretty funny. But I think didn't JD Vance get shunted out at like the last second?
Oh yeah, they're planning to throw him under the bus, and Trump actually admitted in one of these moments where he's losing his inhibitions and is unable to not say the quiet part out loud. He was asked if he would blame JD Vance if the deal went wrong, and he said, yes, of course I'll take credit if it's good, and I'll blame JD Vance if it's bad.
There's some element to this where you send the vice president. If it works out, great, you look like a genius for sending him. And if it doesn't work out, it's the vice president's
I like that idea, sure. What? This way, if it works out, I'm going to take the credit. If it doesn't work out, I'm blaming JD. You better be careful, JD. He's going to turn his plane around and get the hell out of here. Yeah, I like that idea. I think it's a good idea. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Awesome.
And then all of the operatives have gone fully on board with that in a way that really couldn't even be expected, and that Trump certainly wasn't predicting would happen, to use those prediction markets again. And they're going full tilt on the blaming JD Vance for how bad this deal is. Yeah. And it's more of the working backwards from the conclusion that Trump could never be wrong. So who could be to blame for this bad
but
deal?
It's also, there is a major faction of the MAGA coalition that has undeniably shown a real, and it's specifically the pro-Israel part of the MAGA coalition that has shown a real disdain and upset with Trump in this moment, which is interesting just to see that fracture deepen.
Yeah, like Ben Shapiro. And he's one of the ones I was thinking of who is helping now to tell this story, that because he knows if he blames Trump, he'll lose what tiny little amount of people remain in his audience. So he's got to work backwards from Daddy Trump couldn't possibly do anything wrong. So who's the fall guy? And Trump said it himself. JD Vance is the fall guy. So now they're all going full steam ahead with that.
Well, before it was even basically, falling apart as of this morning, like we alluded to, the specific scope of this ceasefire was pretty vague and confused. And anyone who didn't have any actual knowledge.
We shouldn't even call it a ceasefire because it's a memorandum of understanding. A deal to make a deal.
Exactly. The memorandum of understanding, the people who have intimate understanding of it seem to say that it basically gave Iran everything they were looking for. It made no mention of not having a nuclear program. He even said very plainly oh yeah, they should be allowed to have a ballistic missile program.
That was awesome. Again, him saying the quiet part out loud.
Really, truly, why the in what legal framework are we allowed to say?
Finally, they're admitting the things we've been saying for years. That how could you possibly expect them to not have, if everybody else around them gets to have conventional missiles, how could we possibly ask them not to? Trump had been going to the full extreme and saying they don't get anything. They can't even have regular nuclear power. But now that he's realized they do have cards, he's decided to say, well, how could we possibly expect them to not, anyone within their reasonable mind would ask for conventional missiles and for conventional nuclear power.
So we'll be working on a parallel effort with the Gulf nations to address non-nuclear issues such as the conventional ballistic missiles, which we'll be talking about. And support. I mean, they have to have some because other people have some. They got to have some. Somebody said you shouldn't give them one. I mean, I have guys. I like some of these guys, but I don't think they're smart. Sir, you shouldn't let them have any missile. I said, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to let Saudi Arabia have missiles, but they can't have them? Yes, sir. It doesn't work that way, It doesn't work that way. And missiles aren't the problem. Missiles they hurt a little location, but they don't blow up the planet.
But he would not say that for months.
Well, let me read this quote I took from his G7 speech, because he was really going off in a way that really showed his cognitive decline a lot. And he was talking about the ceasefire deal. And there were a few choice quotes I took out, which is that he described the assassination of Soleimani as one of the biggest things to ever happen in the Middle East, which I thought was really funny. Just for a region known for being the birthplace of Jesus Christ, amongst other things, you know, like, and then he was talking about the nuclear material under the mountain that they bombed, and how he was saying how basically like it had been, by bombing that mountain so thoroughly and well, even though it was a granite mountain, it was very hard for the Iranians to get that material now. Basically impossible. He said no one could ever get it unless we wanted it. We could get it if we wanted to. It's actually not very valuable, but we'd like to get it psychologically. We'd like to get it.
Those mountains collapsed right on top of everything. Nobody's going to get that for a long time unless we want to get it. We'll get it. But we're the only ones that can. And they say China has the equipment to get it, and we have the equipment to get it. And it's actually not valuable. Not a lot of value, but we'd like to get it psychologically, but nobody's touching it.
That part there especially was fascinating to me, where I was like, yeah, it's not very valuable. It's literally it's a shibboleth. It's a token. Like it doesn't mean anything.
And he made another one of those surprise admissions too in the same speech, I believe, where he said that Iran is, of course, like we've been saying, and we said extensively in the last few episodes, but he said, of course, Iran is a level-headed negotiator. Of course, they're stable, which basically confesses what we've been saying all along, that, of course, they would respect the theory of mutual destruction. They're not radical Islamists like most Americans have no capability of understanding, seemingly, the difference between Sunnis and Shias. They are Shia, which is, they believe in, for lack of a better term, quote unquote, modern westernized values to some extent, or at least that they don't believe in jihad, for example. And they act like they're jihadists, extreme jihadists, and that has not been the case, I don't believe, ever in Iran. They've always been Shia, and that's something that he finally, surprisingly, admitted in public. He said, of course, they're level-headed, and they've played their cards well in this negotiation because they are completely rational actors.
And we're dealing with people that I think are very rational people. I mean, they were nice to deal with. They were strong people, smart people. I think actually they're smarter than the first and second group. But they're not radicalized, and they're, looking to help their country.
And he even started to turn on Israel a little bit and has revealed that they are the ones who are actually not rational or level-headed.
I'll tell you what, Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long, and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody, because there are a lot of people in those apartment houses, and they're not all Hezbollah, that I can tell you. And I suggested to Israel to let Syria take care of Hezbollah. Because to be honest with you, I think they do a better job of doing it.
And there was that story, too, of Axios and his little puppet there, Barack Ravid, who has come out and said, just like with Joe Biden, that, the president's really mad at Netanyahu.
Yeah, believe it when I see it. Well, I wanted to say, too, about that G7 speech, too. Another thing that was so funny about it was, like, in that same diatribe I was going through there about how the nuclear material is stuck under this granite mountain, he went literally on a 5-minute plus speech in there about how granite's properties as a material in construction. And it was very funny because he first off could not help himself from bragging about all of the stonework that he was putting in various parts of the White House area. He was like, I put these black steps in, it's great granite, it's rated for 1,000 years. And he's saying these things about stone in the stone, these things that they are very wrong in this way that's the kind of specific way that a contractor who deals with this stuff from a million miles, a real estate guy who never really actually learned about this stuff but still has to put up a lot of money for it.
A small business owning pool company
and deal with a lot of like salespeople. Right, exactly. Like it's this like very like weird, like not really scientific understanding of the whole different properties of rocks.
They were enriching material under granite mountains. Granite being, for those not in the construction business, granite being the strongest stone. It's not as pretty as marble, but it's much stronger. It's a lot stronger. Like the new granite I put on the stairs of the White House going to the Oval Office, the black granite, it's rated 1 million years plus. No marble's rated that. Marble's rated 100 years if it's outside. So these are granite mountains. And the B-2s came along and they hit those air shafts in the dark at 1 o'clock in the morning with no moon.
Most importantly, like, it's just, again, like, the like, we want to get it psychologically. It's like, yes, the whole point is this, like, weird, like, power game with Iran. Just be like, you can't do anything. You can't do nuclear. You can't do rockets. You live in mud huts. That it's like, it's this weird, like, up, like, this just to deny them any kind of like access to modernity in any sense that like they could, develop autonomously and with sovereignty. It's like it's unreal.
Right. And that's kind of what I meant about the distinction between Sunni and Shia, that Shia have had a propensity towards modernity the whole time. And if you don't understand that, and if you don't understand that Sunni and Shia countries generally hate one another and are in a conflict with one another, that not all Muslims are the same, why are you in the negotiation position at all? If you don't understand that Iran has always been one of the more modern Middle Eastern countries that clearly would respect the concept of mutually assured destruction, and that they do play, they have the entire time played this game of chess or game theory, if you will. They've played it completely rationally. They're not out to end the world like people assume all Muslims are because of jihadism or something like that. They're the exact opposite end of the spectrum as far as that goes.
Right. Well, and the thing I always go back to that I think is such an important grounding principle is to recognize that no group is ever monolithic, and then especially the larger that group becomes. And when you're talking about the Muslim world, which is
the world's fastest growing religion,
huge number of people on earth, that's whether you like it or not, there's going to be every different type, flavor, variety, and like persuasion you can imagine, and it will be contradictory in ways that seem impossible right now. But it's not so crazy to imagine, like, I don't know, queer trans Islam in the future. We'll have all types. It's just how the world works. Like, and as of now, there's plenty of things to be said about the role of women in Islam and the way in which it should be improved, but certainly not for my white ass to say.
Exactly.
Over here in America, it's not my fault. I wish him the best. I truly do, but it's like I don't think my country is doing anything for it, unfortunately. So. Yeah, I mean, we wanted to talk generally about Trump's cognitive decline because it has been wild. And that G7 speech, especially, I was like, I couldn't believe my ears for the way this man was just, because he's always been a rambler. Right. But it is
now
true
the ramblings
that,
are just incoherent. I mean,
it's so clearly like he just forgets to keep talking about the thing he's supposed to be talking about and drifts back to talking about something he actually wants to talk about.
Which is homoerotic 90% of the time.
Or just about building something beautiful and being like, it's going to be lovely. I'm going to have a ballroom. It's going to be amazing. Yeah. But yeah, the cognitive decline, and there were a couple big obvious instances of this, and they have to do with sports. So shall we start? I think we need to give a resounding "Let's go Knicks" on this episode.
Yeah.
That's sick.
So the Knicks won, which was pretty cool. That it was the first time they'd won in well over 30 years, I believe. And
I think it was like 5 decades. Yeah, something crazy.
And they played almost a perfect season leading up to that, too, a record-breaking season in the playoffs. And then they ended up losing in game 3 because Trump attended and people told him not to. And they said, if he attends, that will throw off the vibes. And it most certainly did. And you know who did not throw off the vibes was Zohran Mamdani, who had been attending the previous games. And if you wanted to see a more night and day contrast, then there is no better place to look than the difference between Zohran's attendance and Trump's attendance. Zohran chose to sit in the quote-unquote nosebleed seats among the commoners, and Trump decided to fall asleep in a box in private. He decided to interrupt people's day to add 2 hours of security check-ins and couldn't even stay awake. And then he left with 7 minutes left on the clock, completely inconveniencing people and pissing them off. Almost the entire state of New York. Off Stephen A. Smith too, which is
that's true. That's all true. But I think the funniest part of that whole exchange, the whole like Nick's final series and Trump's involvement in it, was that not only did he recently quite publicly miss his son's wedding, but he also was in the midst of, and still is in the midst of, the Iran war negotiations. Right. You know, it was not a time to take the night off to watch the Knicks play, man. It was really crazy.
Yeah, and there was an Apache helicopter that was downed the night before that he seemingly knew nothing about until after the Knicks game, where he was falling asleep. And he finally posted about it the following day, which showed that he didn't bother to get briefings at that time because he was too preoccupied with showing up at the Knicks game and, again, falling asleep in public. And he's been doing that repeatedly. And he also told the people who wanted to see the game that life is tough, too bad that the tickets are $7,000 at a minimum to get in there.
The price for the game 3 you're going to is $8,000. Everyday Americans can't afford these sports.
Well, I know, but they can watch it on television. It's sort of semi-free to watch it on television, but that's the way life goes. You know, you have some, and now if the game wasn't if the team wasn't a big success, you could go very easily. So, you know, you can do that too, but that's the way life is. You know, they've had great success. And don't forget, they've suffered also losses, and they've suffered during the bad time. Now they have a good time. They have a team that's amazing. I don't think they've lost a playoff game.
The tickets rose to $7,000, and no one was able to attend. And again, as a contrast, Zohran decided to make them publicly available in there are kiosks all over New York, and he decided to broadcast it. And he also gave out the only affordable tickets. He had some reserved so that regular people could actually afford to see it. And the other thing is, there was really the opposite of the "Let's Go Brandon" moment that happened at Trump. And if you aren't familiar with that term, that phrase, there was
I see what you mean.
Yeah, Biden was booed heavily at one point, and on Fox News and right-wing media, they spent probably months, I would say, making fun of the fact that a reporter on a liberal news station said, "Oh, they're shouting 'Let's go Brandon,' when they were clearly shouting 'F you, Biden.'"
Oh my God, it's just such an unbelievable moment.
Brandon, you also told me, as you can hear the chants from the crowd, "Let's go Brandon." And you told me you were going to kind of hang back those 2 stages and just watch and learn.
And so they tried to they tried to show Trump on the Jumbotron during the national anthem, assuming that people wouldn't boo him if it was during the national anthem. And this was a crowd of people who could afford $7,000 tickets, which are the only people in America generally who still approve of Donald Trump, but clearly not in New York. And so even those well-to-do people who attended the Knicks all decided to boo him. And on the right-wing, trillion-dollar right-wing news media networks that are owned by a handful of oligarchs, they decided to say, no, he didn't get booed. And Trump also, to defend his own ego, admitted, well, there were actually mixed reactions during the national anthem. It wasn't all boos, it was a mix.
I thought it was amazing, actually. You mean when they had the camera on me? I thought it was very good, yeah. It was certainly amazing. It was. I think mostly cheers. It was loud and it was very enthusiastic.
Well, hold on now. Let me get a point in here because that's all true. It was pretty hilarious to watch unfold and par for the course. And I'll tell you, Donald Trump's been unpopular in New York City since even well before his first presidency. Is just the truth.
Oh, but he had that Madison Square Garden rally.
There's been factions. The Madison Square, the MSG thing was crazy too. But the point I'm getting to is that Hassan has had this. We have our disagreements with the boy, but he's been saying this stuff about how this Knicks win has a way of probably being good for the brand of socialism in the United States. And I mean, there's definitely more tangible victories to be delivered, but I do think he's on to something there. And it's very interesting because I think part of it is the civic national identity of New York that's kind of unique to New York, and part of what makes it one of the best parts of the United States is that people in New York don't have this weird angst about being oppressed by having a government. They are okay with having a state and a government, and in fact they are they think it's a good thing, and it's part of what makes New York a great place, and always has been one of the things that makes it a great place. And so that's a fundamental difference right there, and then also the diversity and complexity of New York. But I want to tell you a story too, my friend, because I'm down here in Florida. And I was out to a salsa event the other night with, wife and some friends, cool. And it was at a local winery. It was cool. And the DJ at the event, shouts out New York, because this is in the midst of the Knicks run and everything. Yeah. And the whole room goes insane. Yeah. And, the New York merch, the Knicks apparel everywhere has been really on. And Florida, you always get a diversity of sports teams. Yeah,
we've talked about that Florida-New York connection.
Yes, it runs really deep. And this Knicks moment for me as a Floridian has been an interesting sort of moment to reappraise that and see how deep it really does run. That it's really true that a lot of the DNA of what makes New York great comes via the Caribbean and Florida specifically. It's like a way station into America. But I mean, it's just cool to see that this very left state with its very civic national identity and socialist mayor has a contingent of people in Florida who are willing to say, what, let's go Knicks, which is interesting.
And that civic identity is really under threat everywhere. It's happening in Canada too.
Yeah, exactly.
There are major corporations who are making it unaffordable to attend or even watch hockey in Canada. And so people, as sports fans around the world, are starting to recognize, if there's not an ability to watch sports for everybody, it's kind of hard to even have a sense of national identity anymore. And so they're recognizing capitalism is an inherent threat. And you're right, that is the appeal to Zoran, that it just seems like a normal thing to want to have a mayor who would say, hey, shouldn't some people who are poor be able to attend, or even middle class be able to attend the major sporting events?
Shouldn't this be
affordable for everybody to go see a Knicks game or to see the FIFA World Cup? And what we have seen this year with FIFA is the cost of ticket admission as well as everything else, parking. It's all rising exponentially in a way that you would actually have to zoom out massively on a graph in order to actually comprehend the rising costs. But this is just felt at a lived experience, even amongst sports fans, that they're starting to grapple with a need for socialism, and it starts to become a kind of common sense position that this cannot continue. And it becomes very obvious why you would want a mayor who sits amongst the regular people, who makes tickets affordable for everybody, as opposed to a president who says, life's tough, get over it, when the tickets are too expensive. It's all for my friends anyway. And he still gets booed when only affluent people can attend these major sporting events. It turns out that even those people don't really like his presence at their games. It disrupts things.
And the danger is that obviously there's really only a tenuous connection between anything Zoran has done and the Knicks winning. At best, there's probably no real connection to be said. So it's long term. It's not like a strategy for success, but it's one of those things that's like, hey, cool, nice.
You just come off as normal.
Right, exactly.
Normal and relatable.
Honestly, I love, not a basketball guy overall myself, but I'm an underdog guy, and I love seeing something like what happened where the Knicks just hadn't won in so long. So I think everybody appreciates that, and that does create a sort of electric energy. And New York in general has a way of being able to really coalesce into a community because it's a place where people are living on top of each other, and it has one of the only decent public transit infrastructures
and of course,
in the U.S., which again, part of what people love about it, part of what people wouldn't exchange for anything else.
Right. And of course, Zoran's presence can't make them win a game, but what is pretty clear and what a majority of people, even people who tend to stay out of politics, agreed was that the president's unpopular presence could actually completely throw off the vibes and cause them to lose in the middle of a streak where they had been winning nonstop. And that seems to be universally agreed.
That's true. We didn't even
that if he had stayed
that.
the out, they probably would have won a complete sweep in the finals. And that turned out to be good for the management and the corporate interests that want to see it dragged out to a Game 7. But the fans absolutely wanted to see this won in a sweep, which they had momentum to do, and that momentum was actually stopped by the presence of the president.
It is right. I was going to say, it's pretty fascinating. Thank you for making sure to make this point, because it'd be crazy if we forgot to mention this. But yeah, in the final series, the Knicks were basically going undefeated, and then the president decided to show up for Game 4, I believe it was,
3,
which is Game 3.
And he was told to stay out of Game 4. He had the sense to actually listen to that after hearing the overwhelming boos and then the overwhelming public reaction after that.
Right. Well, Game 3 shows up, Knicks lose, everyone's scared of about what can happen now, what can change with the Spurs, and then Game 4 they managed to bring it back because Trump doesn't show up again. But he was on camera dozing, and then the UFC event. I mean, we talked about it last time.
Yeah. He was dozing there, and then they tried to cover it up by putting a white hat on over his head, and they lowered the visor very low so that it covered his eyes. But there were photos of him both before they put the hat on and after the hat on, just simply dozing in a loud crowd in an arena with lights and cheering crowd, an environment that would be almost impossible for someone to fall asleep in if they did not have dementia.
Yeah. Well, and the event was called, what was it? It was something absolutely hilarious. And it was all having to do with apparently the centennial. The Freedom 250.
Yeah.
UFC Freedom 250. And there was a comment made by one of the fighters about Michelle
Obama's wife. Yeah.
Michelle Obama is a man. Am I right, America?
Off.
And then she went on to do a speech during the Obama Congressional Library opening that was, I mean, I'm not one to lib out over speeches, but it was pretty good and a reminder of what just basic, sane presidents can sound like, rather than Melania when she has AI or when she plagiarizes someone else's speech. It was an original speech that had its own message to it. And you had all the former presidents that are living in attendance all sharing the same sentiment. Wow, this can be a really nice country when we just have normal presidents. And guess who wasn't invited to that? Obviously, the current president. And they all made statements sharing the same sentiment, including even George W. Bush saying basically that the current president has led to a toxic environment where we can't even really sit in the same room. So it's obvious why he wasn't invited.
Well, we shouldn't be sitting in the same room with George H.W., but I think we agree on that. But
not H.W.
W. Either way.
Yeah, he should not be normalized either or rehabilitated.
This Freedom 250 event I wanted to talk about because it's just such a disgusting bread and circus absolute weird just a charnel house of violent distraction right on the White House lawn. I didn't for some reason realize that the South Lawn is the lawn in front of the White House. It's the main one that people Am I correct in that? Am I?
Yeah, and they built this massive stage that overshadowed the entire White House, and then on the East Wing, it's still a heaping pile of rubble.
Because I'm looking at the before
grand
and after
ballroom plans.
You can go on Wikipedia and see before and after pictures, and it's you can already see. Not to live out again for a second, but the damage to the grass is crazy. I mean, obviously, I'm sure they'll replace the grass, but it's still it's crazy to see what they're doing. Oh man, I'm living out hard.
And it's
right
just
now,
I mean, it's an embarrassment.
Stupid.
Whether you're liberal or not, it's clearly
shit.
Just embarrassing that the rest of the world is looking at this display and saying, "What the hell is happening in America right now?"
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. It's not good. Nothing good. It's crazy. And I mean, like I said, I'm just hopeful that the stupidity of something like the Knicks winning, being able to give people a feeling you know what, maybe I should give this socialism stuff a chance so my sports teams will win. Sure, whatever
gets
works.
you there.
if that gets people to just give it a shot and get to know their local DSA, awesome. So
it's becoming a common sense position, I think, because people are living the experience of seeing even basic sporting events become Veblen goods that you would have to literally charge an arm and a leg in order to attend one game, let alone all of them. I saw the cost breakdown. I think for people to attend every game in Argentina of the World Cup would cost them something like $30,000 which is literally years and years worth of wages for the average person in Argentina.
Yeah.
And we're talking Argentina too. We should mention that Peter Thiel fled to go live in Argentina. He says that it's in order to pursue development, but what he's really trying to do is push this AI hellscape one step further, and that's his experimental grounds. And then on some other level, Peter Thiel has notoriously been afraid of violent mobs. He seems to have either fantasies or premonitions maybe about violent mobs coming and tearing him apart limb from limb like Gaddafi or something. And maybe you should actually take steps in order to stop that. But instead, he's pursuing becoming the Antichrist, and he's warned that someone like Greta Thunberg is clearly the Antichrist and not him, because anyone who would say that we should pump the brakes on all this AI and this dystopian capitalist hellscape, clearly they're the Antichrist, and he truly has an obsession with the Antichrist. He did a 3-hour-long speech about the Antichrist recently, like a TED Talk.
Well, I look forward to him getting his first up close and personal interaction with a tropical climate. I'm sure he'll do really well with it. And I hope he's able to avoid
the rat line,
the screw worms.
Yeah.
Hope he's able to avoid the screw worms just fine. Honestly, I don't know that much about Argentina's climate. Let me look that up, because you actually get these random pockets of like climates you wouldn't expect in a lot of parts of Central and
it's
South
actually
America.
the southernmost tip, I believe, of
it's very white of me to assume it's tropical.
Yeah, it's at the southernmost tip, so it actually has mountains that are snow covered all year round. Right. It's the closest part to in the South American continent to the South Pole.
Interesting.
And that's also
Argentina?
Why there's Argentinian farm-raised salmon is very common too, just like how there's salmon in Norway. Those are, I believe, the two most common places for salmon.
I'm such a dumbass. I, for some reason, thought Argentina was up in the area of like Guyana. And
I did the same for the longest time, but you learn more about it, and it's like, oh, that's why they chose to turn Argentina into. Sometimes it gets compared actually to Italy, I believe. It's like the most Italian-like in terms of its architecture and things like that.
That's so cool.
Not to say that Italy
a lot of Italian diaspora
is
there.
cold.
No, that's
well,
true.
Actually, the Alps of Italy are cold.
Yeah, Italy can be quite cold. Yeah, but my dumbass truly thought Argentina was north of Brazil. So it shows what I know. That's crazy. So hey, you learn something new every day.
Yeah, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, well, and it's,
I was surprised by that only a few years ago too. So,
and I guess to this we can say bye-bye, Peter Thiel. Enjoy Argentina, motherfucker. What are you doing there?
Hope you stay there.
Have fun. Yeah, and to the people of Argentina, make him fear you. Don't let him feel like it's don't let him feel like this.
Don't let him feel like it's his country.
No, absolutely.
He doesn't have a country. He chose that. He chose to have absolutely no allegiances to any country whatsoever, just like the South African now trillionaire. And so, don't make these people feel welcome anywhere. They're not. Yeah, send them to space where they want to go.
Trust me. They have nothing good planned for you at all. Nothing good besides being like a resource slave. That's their best case planned for you. So, don't let the kind words and the paychecks fool you. So, yeah. Be wary, people of Argentina. I wish you all the best. Well, I think we should sign off there.
Yeah, do a little research into the rat line. And where that ended up.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of them know, but hey, let's sign off on here. Thank you for listening. If you made it to the end, we appreciate all our Patreon subs. We appreciate all our friends listening, and it's podcasting time. It's time to round it out.
Remember, this could be the last episode, and if it's not,
never forget this. Never forget this. That this could always be the last episode.
If it's not, we'll probably try to talk a little bit more about the first trillionaire and his recent IPO of Space
we really want to do some movie
AIX.
apps too. Yeah, we keep talking about doing movie apps and then we never get around to it, but we really want to talk movies because we think the podcasting about movies space, I think there's a lot, it's really, there's not a lot of, space, there's not a lot of people doing that. So I think we got to try and fill the space a little bit, but another time. So till next time, dear listener, thank you and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We don't highlight the means, so we settle for them greens. Yeah, I'll highlight the trees when I send it to my knees. I don't sway with the breeze, they can send me to my knees, yeah.